As one dwells deeper into the abyss of the very real flat science of this plain Earth, we come across a term called abyssal plains. Now, nothing in life is to be feared, my friends. It is only to be understood. So now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. Welcome to part 13 and the abyssal plains on plain Earth. Now, abyssal plains, you may be asking, sounds like a combination of the words abyss and dismal. And those two words might not be far off when one's describing an abyssal plain. And if you've ever thought of the word abyss reminded you of the depths of the ocean, then my friends, you're certainly on the right track. And the word plain, geometrically of course, usually means a flat, wide area. So when you put those two words or things together, you will have an abyssal plain. Now let's just try to imagine how much water actually covers the Earth. So at least 72% of it. And the abyssal plains are amongst the flattest, the smoothest, and the least explored regions on plain Earth. But on record to date, there is already over 70 studied, and they will be below for your perusal. So the abyssal plain refers to a flat area at the bottom of the seabed at an abyssal depth. So the larger, much flatter abyssal plains may be thousands of kilometres in length and breadth and are generally adjacent to the continent. So very little surface variation is observed in these abyssal plains. And they may vary in depth by only 10 to 100 centimetres per kilometre of horizontal distance. Now, these plains are usually found at depths between 3,000 metres and 6,000 metres, so round about 3.7 miles down, lying generally between the foot of a continental rise and a mid-ocean ridge. So as one gets close to a continent, much more sediment is available to be washed into the ocean, so a big pile of sediment develops and so rises up from the abyssal plain. This forms the continental rise, the slope and shelf. Now, these large areas of flat underwater land have been already estimated to take up more than 50% of the Earth's surface. Now, the deep sea flows have historically been very poorly studied, mainly because of the actual size and remoteness of the abyss. Now remember, friends, over 95% of our 72% water has never actually been explored because it's far too vast, it's far too dangerous and totally unknown. So in actual definition, it would probably be more like 95% or maybe a little bit more, because some of us already know, my friends, that the Earth is really flat. And I mean really flat. The abyssal plains are found in almost all major ocean basins of our plain Earth. But they are more common in the Atlantic Ocean, less common in the Indian Ocean, and quite rare in the Pacific. So as previously mentioned, over 70 abyssal plains, my friends, have already been studied in the 5% it's actually been tested in. Now the Ceylon Plain in the North Atlantic Ocean is covering more of 900,000 square kilometres, and this is one of the largest abyssal plains on the plain. And this is about the entire size, my friends, of the Kalahari Desert, underwater, and is scientifically, undeniably, totally flat. Now, with the Helio-Copernican science, how can all of this work on an oblated, flying, wobbling spheroid that is supposed to be 25,000 miles in circumference with an 8 inches per mile squared Pythagorean theorem for curvature calculation. So this poses a very uncomfortable question to the helioscience of make-believe. Because if one cannot find a simple example where the Earth actually has curves or has some type of this magical elevation drop on the very bottom of the seabed floor, and if one was to go further, if we was to penetrate through the Earth, through the seabed floor, and then through the Earth's core and through the crust, would we come out of the other side? Now this poses a real problem, because we certainly cannot find a curvature anywhere on the 72% level Earth water either, because we've got sea level and telescopic zoom circumnavigation, which will equal to no elevation drop anywhere. And even compasses all point to north, the apex centre of the magnetism. There is no South Pole, because in the south circumnavigation of plain Earth, your compass will always point north. And even on the 28% land, as we already covered in part 12, but in short, over 600,000 square miles of the USA is geometrically measured as scientifically flat. And also the powerful zoom cameras that you can buy and telescopes, which will equal to absolutely 0% curvature to see anywhere. The fundamental fact, folks, is that the Earth will always test and prove to be flat with real science, because an experiment is a question which science poses to nature, and a measurement is the recording of nature's answer. The heliocentric spinning alien Earth is nothing more, my friends, but a theory with hypothetical measurements and theoretical equation answers, as the laws of nature can only work scientifically with a geocentric flat, motionless, nature-filled Earth, where we all live. For now. And some a lot better off than others. When you stare into the abyss stares right back at you. And if you gaze long enough into the abyss gazes also gazes into you. The abyssal plains on plain Earth are a very simple example of a very real flat Earth fact on the plain. And the powers that be, my friends, have even named one of the abyssal plains the Eratosthenes Abyssal Plain, just to poke fun. But you're old enough to make up your own mind, right? Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you found this one interesting. And a huge welcome to all the new subscribers. Thank you. And if you have time, please check out the other parts to the series. I certainly look forward to part 14 and something else that we have in the works. Oh yes. And if you are new to the channel, please hit the sub and the notifications. You certainly don't want to miss what's coming on. As always, peace and luck and love on this plain Earth. And keep flat, my friends. Thanks for watching.